fuck Bernard. I mean, what?
Wow. I hope he said that in the recording so we get... No, put it in.
You know the rules. When you say the words, edit that out. I don't ever edit it out.
Yeah, no,
that is
it
100% a rule.
in.
Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am back, bitches, and my name is Sam Allman.
It's Sam!
Yay! We're very happy.
I'm the man, Allman. Okay, who's this other person we have on the podcast?
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddie Grace Spiffle Webbin the Third.
Dominguez.
I'm not Bernard. Sorry, everybody.
Aw, we miss you, Bernard. We love you.
Yeah. We're gonna miss Bernard. Bernard is great, but now he is gone, and Sam is back.
Editing Maddie's "fuck Bernard" right after I say we'll miss you and we love you.
Bernard, I was doing a bit. I'm sorry. You know how I am about bits.
So
she does love her the bits.
So I haven't gotten around to listening yet. How did you guys like Ys?
They liked it, I think.
Yeah. Eli did not end up playing it because the first game is pretty bullshit, and by the time we got to the second one, it was like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. Just couldn't do it.
Because Eli doesn't like games when they're bad.
Yeah.
I thought you were just going to say...
insane...
I thought you were going to end it at Eli doesn't like games, and I was like...
No, Eli doesn't like... Eli plays a bad game and is like, this is bad, which is an insane way to think to me. I
don't get it.
I play a bad game and I'm like... This fucking rules, actually. So yeah, that's the difference between us.
Yeah.
I thought it was a fantastic game. One of my literal favorite games of the 8-bit era. Yeah. Probably Bart, especially the second one. I thought it was astounding, and I want to go on and play the rest of them, except I can't because of, well, we'll get to that in the how's everyone's week portion.
So today we will be selling out hardcore and talking about the most influential piece of JRPG history beyond Dragon Quest I. Chrono Trigger.
We should probably tell people why we're selling out hard.
Yes, because at the end of every year, which is 4 games long, which is actually 6 games long, which is not even close to 52 weeks. We're coming up on like year 3 pretty soon, and this is only our second one. But at the end of each year, we let our homeboys over at our Ko-Fi vote on what's called our best of the rest, which is the games that we didn't get to play that lost all of the brackets throughout the year. They vote on the best one of those. We play that one at the end of the year. And so right now, well, not right now, but right now when y'all hear this right now, you can go over to the Ko-Fi. There will be a bracket there, and you can vote. I'm probably going to do it like a ranking system this time around. Because Chrono Trigger is a lot shorter than Final Fantasy X is, so I won't have time to do like 4-way losers bracket like last time.
IMO, I'm going to go ahead and make a decision here because I'm the one who is the dumb, the extremely way too involved leftist. We're going to be doing ranked choice voting, and we're going to be using the board account method. That's a great little in-joke that nobody listening to this is going to get. but I'm serious. We're going to use the board account method in order to count the votes.
Okay, cool. I was just going to do a Google Forms where you rank them, and the one with the least points at the end wins, but whatever.
That's basically board account with a slight modification. Well, the thing is, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you got to use single transferable voting." I'm not going to explain it. It's sort of a jokey leftist infight whether we should use Borda or something else, and I am Team Borda.
Cool. So if
I explain it, you'll be like, "I'm bored of this discussion."
I already am.
But it's funny, Sam, you were given this whole thing about, like, the voting. No, I mean, what I really meant to say is the reason why we're doing a sellout game is to celebrate our having done this for over 2 years, 2 entire seasons. Thank you to all of our listeners. That's why we're selling out, because we're going to play a game that everyone loves, damn it.
Yep.
And it's just a fun thing to do.
Yep. Gone are the days where we play the Sailor Moon RPG and Rogue Galaxy and scrape the bottom of the RPG barrel. We are taking that top shelf book. It's completely sealed in plastic. Chrono Trigger. Everybody loves it. It's real good. But before we get to everyone's week and also to Chrono Trigger, I do want to mention the games that are in the best of the rest bracket. For year 2, we have The Last Remnant, Shadows of Adam, Danganronpa 1, or Star Tropics 1 and 2 as a single game. And if you want us to play any of those, you can go to our Ko-Fi at ko-fi.com/RPG Book Club and drop your vote there. But while everyone leaves,
prediction, I think that Shadows of Adam and Star Tropics don't have a goddamn chance.
Yeah.
I bet it's going to be either not to put my finger on the scale. If you want to vote for those things, go for it.
Definitely.
I'm going to guess it's either going to be Dangan or Last Remnant.
Yeah.
I like both of those a lot.
Yeah, I like both of those a lot.
I'm really looking forward to looking either of those. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to being completely wrong and ending up playing Shadows of Adam. But I feel like Danganronpa should win because Trans Rage is beautiful podcasting. It's
good content.
It's been about 2 years since our last Trans Rage, so we need a new one.
And we only had one Tran last time.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
we're gonna have twice as much Tran Rage as we did last time.
But
and don't use that whole like I was still trans if I didn't know it thing. I was too stupid, so I don't count. That doesn't count.
But also, you weren't on the podcast. That was Michael, so it really doesn't count. You literally weren't here.
Yeah, you came on for like
Michael was on the podcast.
You came on for like
I was.
Persona episode, I think, 1 or 2.
Yeah. But to put my finger on the scale, I think it should be Danganronpa because A, Trans Rage, B, it's 6 episodes long, and The Last Remnant is 13 episodes long, and I really want to get started on year 3. But feel free to vote for whatever. Like I said, the years don't fucking matter. We just have good shit planned for year 3, so I'm excited to get to it. But while all of our listeners go out and vote, how is everyone's week?
Sam, you should tell us first about your week, since you should tell us about your whole damn life.
Yeah.
Just update us on all the situation. Was the baby born?
Yes, the babby was formed, and
cool. Okay, good.
And
that's an old one. That's an antique. Treat that delicately.
Honestly, it's an old one, but I
say it all the time.
That mean pretty on the reg.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
It is.
It's not an old one. It's not an antique. It's a classic.
No, you're right.
But
was it a Charizard?
No, actually, it was a Mimikyu. It was.
I love Mimikyu, so
me too.
I'm on board with this.
But yeah, Storm is their name, and they currently are rocking the peen. So we're using boy, so we don't have to talk about his genitals in public. But we're woke as shit. So one day Storm might be like, "My name's Stormy," and we're like, "Hell yeah!" But that's where we are for now. He's great. He is fat.
I'm sorry, hold on, Sam.
Fuck.
Sam, I support wokeness and all, but please do not ever use the phrase "rockin' the peen." That's the worst sentence I've ever heard in my goddamn life.
Thank you for saying something, because I was like,
I hate that so much. Not on like a wokeness level. It's just a terrible couple of syllables. Is all I'm saying.
I'm back on this podcast. I'm going to say words like "rockin' the peen." That's what you get when I'm back. This is the level of discourse that I bring.
Bernard, help us! Save us, please! We're begging
Bernard,
you.
come back. Bernard's the only one of us who does not cringe.
Oh man, I posted cringe. Now I'm going to lose subscriber.
We'll be just a dozen followers away from a 2-digit follower count.
Yes. But Storm is great. He's fat as hell, like real darn fat. Like He doubled his birth weight in like about a week, and it took Scarlett like 4 months.
Good job.
4 months to double her birth weight. It's ridiculous. He's huge. He's great. I love him a lot, and I'm glad I got to spend a lot of time with him. I also have been catching up on old video games, and by old video games, I of course mean the Archie Sonic comics. Because I fully planned to, while I was gone, play Wild Arms 5, which I started, and play Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which I started, and play Atelier Aisha, which I started. But I didn't come close to beating a single one of those things, but I've read like 150 Sonic comics, so that's what I did with my time.
Proud of you, Sam.
Yeah. Most recently, I've been playing a shitload of Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I'm saving all of that for my guest appearance on Hyper, because I have a lot of words about the Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Huge spoiler warning coming up in about 2 seconds. It fucking rules.
It's so good. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, other than that, I've been working at my new job. My new job is real good. I really like it, because I lost my job while we were gone. I was recording Halo, which was like my last thing to record when I lost the job at Waymo.
Christ, damn, you're right. It's been a long time.
And then
a lot of things have happened.
And then I had like 2 months of nothing, and then I started my new job where I'm in IT. And I really, really, really like my new job. Everything's great. The only thing that sucks is it's Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. So we're having to record, quote unquote, late at night. It's only late because Scarlett wakes me up at like 6 in the goddamn morning. So everywhere else, they're like, it's 10. Fucking the party don't start till midnight, and I can't do it. But I have my caffeine, so I will be good to go. Other than that, I knew I was going to need to catch everybody up, and I'm just completely and totally blanking on anything that I've done, because it's mostly just been kids.
Baby
a lot
life.
of kids. Yeah. Baby life is great. Gotta love it.
That's awesome. No, I mean, you don't get to share anything if you don't want to. You've been trucking. You're doing great.
Yeah.
And if there's any interesting, fun life stories that you'd like to share next week, you can just fucking do it next week. What?
I just remembered. Digimon got rebooted, and we're 2 episodes in. And
yeah, that was the whole thing for you.
And it's fucking great. It is, like, spectacular. So, long story short, the old Digimon basically sets up a thing that they solve every episode. Like, oh, this is the episode that they're in the haunted house, and then they fight the ghost Digimon, and then next episode is the episode on the beach, and they fight the whale Digimon, and et cetera, et cetera. This one so far has, like, kind of had that, but it's been, like, directly continuous. It's like, oh, they did fight this specific one the first time, but it's something completely different the second time, but it's the next thing that happened. It's like, it's not like completely episodic. It's more serial, which is really cool. And also, we've only met.
Oh, so they managed to make it more serialized, despite it also actually being a remake of a show that was originally not serial.
Yes.
Serial.
Yeah.
That's cool. I haven't really seen something do both of those at the same time before.
Yeah, and what's really, really cool about it is we have met 3 of the Digidestins so far in episode 2, instead of meeting 16 main characters in episode 1, as like we did last time. We just have only met 3 of them so far. And they also, big spoilers, but it's episode goddamn 2, so you can fucking deal with it, Matt, when you're listening.
That's not fucking spoilers.
Omnimon has already shown up, also known as Omegamon in Japan, but he's kind of like
crazy.
He's like he's basically Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and it's like, what if they rebooted Dragon Ball, and the beginning of Dragon Ball, like episode 1 he meets Bulma, episode 2 he goes Super Saiyan 3. That's kind of what
that'd be weird. I'd be like, why is it called Super Saiyan 3?
Pretty much, yeah. And so it's like, if that's where we're going on episode 2 and we're buckled in for 50 fucking episodes this season, where the fuck are we going? So it's real exciting and real cool. But unfortunately, coronavirus canceled the movie that was supposed to end the first one. So it's like it's gotten rebooted, but the first one hasn't ended yet because of coronavirus. So it's
that's weird.
It was supposed.
Man, y'all, I think
it was supposed to be like a send off, and then next week let's start over. And now it's like, okay, ignore this new continuity whenever the movie comes back out, so we can watch the movie.
Yeah. Hot take: coronavirus. It's canceled. It's pretty problematic. It's not good.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Not at all.
I ain't for it. I'm against it.
But yeah, that's enough about me. How about your week, Maddie? You seem to have some juicy gossip for us.
Oh, not really. Just a bazonkers amount of Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's the only thing I did. I mean, I guess that was only on Friday, aka 2 days ago. But it's been a long. It's been a long not even 48 hours yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh my god, 48 hours, and I've played like 15 of them. We're playing this game.
Yeah. I'm up at like 9
that's
hours.
A large percentage of. That's like 1/3 of the amount of time that it's been. Fuck. Okay, wow. Okay, I've played that game a lot.
Yeah.
What can I say? It's really good. Other than that, I don't know. Some bullshit. You know how it is. Eli, what's up with you?
Well, I've been playing a bunch of Final Fantasy XIV. More importantly, though, Steven Universe ended.
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about that too.
That's mine to talk about.
Go for it.
Sorry.
I didn't
Sorry,
finish it. I didn't
mean to yell.
I have all the episodes queued up to finish it, and I don't give a shit about spoilers. So you can say
cool.
it. Say whatever you want.
The ending is really disappointing. And I am a diehard Steven Universe fan who is rarely disappointed by stuff they do. I was disappointed.
I read a thing with Rebecca Sugar where she was like, "Yeah, of course they're going to have adventures. We're just not going to watch anymore." Is basically how she described the ending. Is that why you're disappointed, or something else entirely?
No,
Okay.
it's the way that they did it. It didn't feel all that epic. You know how Change Your Mind felt like an incredibly epic end to the Steven Universe series. And, like, you know, it's this big, like, 45-minute finale, and there's so many different things that happen. Like, there's some real, like heart-wrenching, kind of terrifying moments. Didn't really get that in the finale of Future. So if you don't care that much about spoilers, essentially Steven kind of gives in to his inner darkness. He becomes a big monster. They defeat the monster with the power of friendship. And I mean, I'm all about the power of friendship, but a lot of it was just a bunch of crying and telling Steven how much they love him and then giving him a hug. And that turned him back from being a monster. And he wasn't a monster for very long. He was a monster for the span of one 11-minute episode.
Yeah.
And then they kind of ripped off, from what I understand, I've never seen the end of My Little Pony, but apparently they kind of ripped off My Little Pony in the final episode, where Steven's about to leave, and Pearl, Amethyst, and Garnet are all saying, like, oh, good luck, you know, we're really happy for you, great job, dude. And everybody else around him is, like, crying, and they're, you know, oh, we're going to miss you so much, blah, blah, blah. And then at the very end, finally, Pearl, Amethyst, and Garnet start crying, and they're like, oh, we're going to miss you so much. We just didn't want you to stay because of our tears, and because you thought that we'd be too sad without you or whatever. And apparently that's the ending to My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
I didn't realize that MLP had ended.
Yeah.
I'm way behind on that one. I'm like way back in season 7 or something. Yeah.
I feel like saying you're behind implies that you plan to catch up at some point. I'm not behind on MLP. I just didn't watch past season 2 because why would I?
Yeah, I'm somewhere in season 7. I intend to catch up, but like at whatever pace that Scarlett wants to watch the show. I just put on an episode at a time.
Well, Scarlett's watching it. Yeah. Yeah. No, I get what you say by the ending. Like, it's like, even though I'm not remotely on y'all's level with the show, it's like I've seen other shows where the finale, quote unquote, was just like a single episode, like like problem, you know? And it's just like, that's not a finale of anything. That's just an episode.
Yeah, exactly. And like the finale was technically 3 episodes. They were all kind of mixed together, but like they had been building up a lot with Steven struggling with these inner demons, and it was getting really, really good. And then it just kind of petered off. And that's
too bad.
yeah, it was really disappointing. And I mean, I don't have a problem with the show ending. I just wish it had ended better than it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel that.
You should do what I do with a game that I won't say the name of because I don't want to argue with Sam, and just say, wow, I guess this doesn't have an ending. It's a shame they never made an ending.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I agree with you because that's the truth and that's what happened. But we won't talk about the ending that we did get.
But
this is Mass Effect 3 for the.
I had a feeling that was probably
some deep lore.
Like I've never played Mass Effect, but I had a feeling you were talking about Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
You know what else? You know what else just doesn't have an ending? Star Wars.
Okay.
They never made a 9th movie.
Yeah.
Oh well.
They just decided that the questions in your head would probably be better than anything else at the end of Last Jedi, which is probably
Wow. Bold decision by Disney. Good job.
I mean, that's that's how Twin Peaks does it, and we love Twin Peaks. But yeah, it did not feel grand or epic. It felt too small for an ending. It is not going to ruin my enjoyment of the series. I still fucking love Steven Universe. I still think it's brilliant children's television.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely going to be watching it with my nibblings when the current one and any future ones get to be old enough.
Speaking of epic finales in children's television, Gravity Falls rules. Have you been watching Owl House, Eli?
I have not. I need to.
I've only watched the first episode because it was on YouTube. I went and I acquired the rest of the episodes. I just haven't gotten around to watching them, but it is phenomenal.
Send me where to watch it.
Is this a new show by the Gravity Falls people?
Yes, it is. It is
wild. I've never watched a single episode of Gravity Falls.
So
I am so out of the loop on all this.
So it is not the main executive producer, Alex Hirsch. He is involved, but it is his lead storyboard artist on Gravity Falls. She's the EP for Owl House, and so it feels.
Gotcha. So it's like it's in the lineage.
Yeah, it's in the lineage. It feels comfy, but it feels brand new at the same time because it's a different person calling the shots, which is really cool.
Well, that's kind of like when Rebecca Sugar, was involved with Adventure Time, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Isn't that the case? Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
So again, bringing that kind of vibe, that kind of style, obviously working on a show that is not super similar, but a lot of modern shows like this have a lot of similarities, right? Yeah. That makes sense. I love that. That's super cool. And also good for that person getting to do their own thing.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, I think she is a woman of color, which is super awesome. And if she's not, the main character is, which is super awesome. Because there are not enough of those in genre television.
Yeah.
But, let's talk about Chrono Trigger, because we've already wasted 25 minutes of our time, which is how we do it.
Not a lot to talk about today, so it's fine.
Yeah. So, Chrono Trigger is super duper duper important, and I would be remiss to not mention its history before we dive into the game. So, let's say the year first, 1995, yes,
I believe.
25 years ago. Yeah.
Yep. It's
hot on the heels.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It was March 11th was its 25th anniversary. We were right on its
I remember
birthday.
that happened, and I was like, damn.
But the game basically it came about because at some convention, Sakaguchi and Yuji Horii were like stuck in an elevator together, and they were like, "Dude, wouldn't it be cool if like we weren't bitter rivals and instead we made a game together?" And then they were like, let's just demand that it happens and our lawyers can work out the fucking contracts. And they did. And then they made because Enix and Square were not Square Enix at the time. So like they were huge rivals, both had exclusivity contracts, but they were like, I don't give a shit. find a way to make this work. We're going to make Chrono Trigger. And
yep, so it was literally like the epic like collab album between your two favorite artists, or the epic team up between Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, which are like the two JRPG series, in some ways. But although it is technically a Square game, so I guess Enix just was like, I guess y'all can have this one.
Yeah.
I'm sure it wasn't that amicable. I'm just saying, for whatever legal reason, it is officially a Square game.
Yeah. And so the Square marketed it on the back of the quote-unquote Dream Team, which were four developers, which was Hironobu Sakaguchi, Yuji Horii, and then character artist Akira Toriyama and musician Nobuo Uematsu. They were the four people in charge, and they were like, oh, that's the Dream Team. But what actually happened, now that we're here in the future, is there were 50 developers on this game. All 50 of them were the Dream Team. Like, it's a lot of people.
Yeah, like retroactively, all of them are amazing.
And
we just didn't know it yet.
I have the list. And so normally I just name off like a couple of people and their accomplishments. I have a list of 15 people and their accomplishments that worked on this game because it's important. So bear with me on this. So it has Hironobu Sakaguchi, who invented Final Fantasy, Yuji Horii, who invented Dragon Quest, Akira Toriyama, who made Dragon Ball, Masato Kato, who had written Ninja Gaiden and would go on to write Baten Kaitos, several of the Mana games, and most importantly for us, Xenogears. Then Hiromichi Tanaka, who had worked on the previous Mana games and then would go on to make Xenogears and the Final Fantasy III remake. Akihiko Matsui, who had helped design the active time battle system for Final Fantasy IV, that's also present in Chrono Trigger. He would go on to design the entire combat system from the ground up for Final Fantasy XIV. Then Yoshinori Kitase, who's the future lead designer for the entire Final Fantasy series, whose credits are way too long to list. Then
absolute god.
Then Takashi Tokita, who had just finished Live Alive and would go on to make Parasite Eve and Final Fantasy The Four Heroes of Light, which would spawn the Bravely Default series. Then Tetsuya Takahashi, who spawned the entire Xeno series, got to start here. Tetsuya Nomura, who would go on to create Final Fantasy VII and Kingdom Hearts. Then Yasuyuki Hone, who besides working with the Xeno team, also made the maps for Subspace Emissary and Super Smash Bros. Brawl, which I thought was a weird thing, but he was a map designer on this game. And then Yusuke Naora, who did character designs for the Chaos Ring series, and then he also worked on the entirety of the Final Fantasy VII Expanded Universe. Then the music was handled mostly by Yasunori Mitsuda, who actually was just a sound designer at Square, and he was going into the office to quit his job unless they would let him compose music for Chrono Trigger, and this is one of his best OSTs, and it was his first one. Yep. Knocked it out of the park on the first try.
Quick butt in. I think this might be one of those stories we're not sure if it's true or not, but I think it may have been Uematsu himself who was like encouraged it. Was like, hey, don't. Oh, you're quitting because you think that you can never get anywhere and never get to really do a score for a game. Just fucking tell them that they should let you do it, or you'll quit. And Uematsu's super busy, obviously, with all the other goddamn games he's making. So I think he may have been some part of being like, yeah, y'all should definitely let this guy do it.
Yeah, and Uematsu himself was on the soundtrack, and he, in case you didn't know from us just talking about him, he scored all of Final Fantasies up to Final Fantasy IX. And then Noriko Matsueda did one song for the soundtrack. I have no idea which one. Excuse me.
I didn't know this.
But they had just scored Bahamut Lagoon, and they would go on to score Final Fantasy X-2, which is really cool. So that's a lot of great JRPGs that can be directly traced back to that one time that Hironobu Sakaguchi and Yuji Horii ended up in an elevator together, which is pretty cool.
We need to get more video game rival developers stuck in elevators, apparently.
Right? But
yeah, absolutely.
And so this is since there were only 50 or 60 people working on Chrono Trigger, and I just listed off 15 of them that are trailblazers of the genre. Who knows how many of the mid-level just like programmers also went on to program mid-level jobs on like all these other things. Like these are just the top 15. Who knows how great the bottom 45 are. The English localization of Chrono Trigger was handled by Ted Woolsey, whose credits included, I found out this week, he localized most of Final Fantasy V, but then Final Fantasy VI came out, and they were just like, we're not going to release 5 in America. Stop what you're doing and just do Final Fantasy VI instead.
Shit.
Then he also did Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, Super Mario RPG, and apparently Breath of Fire 1, which I think is crazy because Breath of Fire 1 has a good localization and Breath of Fire 2 has the worst ever. So it's like, damn,
if only they just kept him on. What the hell?
Like, did Ted just like ask for too much money and they're like, for the second one, we'll just put it through Google Translate or something. But it's wild.
Or maybe, I don't know what the actual reason is, but it would be an interesting twist of history if he didn't do it because he was like too busy with one of these other famous games.
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it.
Sorry, Breath of Fire 2, Final Fantasy 6 interrupted Ted Woolsey's schedule, and that's why you fucking suck, because you didn't get a good translation. Sorry.
Yeah. The DS version, which is the version I'm playing, it got an editing pass on the localization by Tom Slattery. He didn't relocalize it, which is a common misconception, and I didn't know this until recently. Yeah. But he just went and took Ted's script, compared it to the Japanese. Now he didn't have Super NES ROM, which also this game is the biggest game on the Super NES. It is literally pushing the system to its limits, which I think is great. But since the DS didn't have those problems, he could go in and like expand things and stuff like that. So it's more of a casual pass of Ted Woolsey's script than starting it over, which is pretty cool. But both of you guys are playing the Ted Woolsey version, right? Y'all are both on
I'm
Super
on the
NES?
SNES, yeah.
Cool.
I'm just playing the SNES version with, this is the first time I've ever put a ton of work into having lots of good shaders and graphical effects on my emulator, and oh my god, it's almost like I'm playing it for the first time. It's so beautiful. I'll talk about that more later, I guess.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about with the Slattery cut is the very first line of the game. So let's listen to that spectacular goddamn Chrono Trigger theme, and then we'll get right to it.
Hell yeah.
So, the first line of this game is really, really famous. This game invented New Game Plus, so this is the first time that people would, like, play the same game over and over again, like, on a more casual level. Because, of course, you had people that, like, would wake up every day and play through Dragon Quest, but the average RPG consumer would, consume it like a book and would...
Wow, why you gotta call me out like that?
So they would beat it. They probably would do a lot of the side quests and stuff, but like when they were kind of done with it, they wouldn't start over because these were their friends. Why would they start their friends over? But since this game invented New Game Plus, you didn't have to start your friends over. You just got to do the story over and over again. And so so the first line being "Good morning, Chrono," everybody recognized. So when the DS version came out, all of the marketing was centered around the line "Good morning, Chrono," and the website for the DS version of the game is goodmorningchrono.com, which is too bad because Tom Slattery changed this line to "Chrono, are you still sleeping?" in the DS version. So the version
That's so dumb. That is the dumbest change.
To me, this is like the "Wake Up, Mr. West" of video games in a way.
Yeah, it's so funny because his thing was to make it more accurate to the Japanese, but not like go from the ground up, because Ted Woolsey named a lot of people after like pop culture references, and those references are all intact.
Yeah.
But if the thing was phrased different in the Japanese, it tried to make it more accurate. So that's why. It's because in the Japanese he says, "Chrono, are you still sleeping?" But the marketing team didn't get that memo. So
Whoops.
real funny. So this game is about a boy with spiky hair and a sword who starts the game getting out of bed, and then he goes to a fair of some sort where he meets a princess that he then has to save. That's it. That's all the game is about. Is the same thing that every JRPG
Nothing else is
about.
going to happen.
So more specifically,
And he definitely doesn't commit any crimes or go to jail at any point.
God damn it.
nope. There's
I have
definitely
so much to say about that.
And he's very respectful of the other people at the fair.
More specifically, there's the Millennium Fair, which is celebrating 1,000 years of the monarchy and 400 years of peace, because the war with the this version calls it the Fiend Lord, which I definitely do not remember from the last time I played
Not
it.
at all, no.
Yeah, but they
The Dragon Lord, whatever, who cares?
yeah. But 400 years since they finished the war, and they've had peace, and everything is great. So Chrono is going to go and check out his friend and my wife Luca's invention that she's showing
Before we
off.
start, what do people name their characters?
I kept them straight because I was writing notes, and I...
Okay, makes sense. Eli?
I kept him straight because I haven't played it before.
Lame. I named Chrono Bernie. R.I.P.
Which by
not actually R.I.P. in case you don't pay enough attention to politics. He did not die. However, he did suspend his campaign. I'm very sad about it. Yeah, I named him Bernie. Fun fact: I decided to do some self-insertion. I named the female character you haven't mentioned yet. I named Maddie, and the other one named after my friends. So
Nice. But we are going to go up and check out Luca's invention, and so you make your way to the fair on a normal playthrough. I will talk about what I did in the memorable moments.
Same.
But you make your way to the fair, and you run into literally a girl named Marl, who her name is canonically pronounced Marl because there's a tribute character to her in Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they pronounce it Marl. So 25 years, case closed. It is Marl.
It's Marl, folks.
I was saying it, Marl.
All of you Marley ass motherfuckers out there in the speedrunning community that have been at GDQ, I'm calling you out. It is not Marley, it is Marl. The end.
I didn't realize people said Marley. Marley has a Y on the end. Why would you say it Marley? It's clearly Marl.
Yeah,
whatever.
I said Marl the whole time.
Yeah.
So
Good. I'm glad we're all on the right side of history here.
The first
playing this 25-year-old video game.
Because the first time I saw Puexel run Chrono Trigger, which, by the way, if you have not watched Puexel run Chrono Trigger at GDQ, it is one of the comfiest and best speedruns you can watch. And now that we're going to beat it, Eli, you can go and watch it because it's great.
They were doing it at one of the previous GDQs, and I was like, well, guess I can't watch anymore.
Yeah, but
I've been avoiding spoilers for this game for 25 years, so be very proud of me. I usually do not care about spoilers, but everybody's like, "Oh no, you shouldn't spoil it for yourself. It's so good." And I'm like, "All right, fine, I won't." Game Grumps is playing it right now. I fucking love Game Grumps, and I can't watch it.
Yeah, Dev Game Club is also playing it right now. I think the 25th just made it work out for a lot of people, which is really cool.
Yeah,
we're all a fraternity of Chrono Trigger. But so Chrono bumps into Marl, and she drops a pendant, and so you pick it up for her and return it, and then she asks you to escort her around the fair, and there's a whole bunch of things to do. You can find a kitty cat and return it to its master. You can do a sake/soda drinking contest, depending on your version. And then you can fight a singing robot named Gato. You can
Masato Gato.
You can
also find a cat named Masato Gato.
Yes, but you can bet on a race. You can try to pawn off Marl's pendant. You can eat this delicious chicken lunch that's just left out for you, and you can go into the Tent of Horrors where you can redeem your silver points for cool loot like a functioning robotic clone of yourself, which is fucked up.
It's weird. Why is that a thing you can do? That's way too many silver points. To be clear, did not do that.
I did not.
Definitely not.
I did spend 10 silver points to play the mini game where I got a just a little cute little critter that's like white and he's like
the Furby,
like circular.
Oh yeah, I got one of those.
Furby one. So I did win a plush of him, but I didn't get anything more advanced. I did not get a weird robot Chrono. Do they make one for everyone that plays the game,
or is it just Chrono?
Is it just Chrono? Like, what if someone else
would be like really creepy if they were just
they're
giving
like,
out
who is this
robot?
guy that I got a rope? So imagine someone else plays it and they get the robot and they're like, who is this? And they're like, oh, it's just this 16-year-old kid who lives down the way. They're like, why did you make a robot clone of the local 16-year-old anime teen boy? That doesn't make any sense. And they're like, well, he's the protagonist.
And we're gonna leave it at that because Eli has a tendency to make dirty jokes about things.
Oh, I was about to anyway, so it's all good. But,
okay, I feel less bad, but
see, I wasn't even I was 0% thinking about any of the things y'all are thinking about because I am a good Christian girl.
I've read Showbits.
It is Easter.
I've read Showbits. I know how this goes. All right.
Yeah. So
moving on.
Moving on. Eventually, you make your way to the northern square of the fair, where Luca and her father Taban are showing off their teleporter. You're voluntold to go first, and holy shit, it actually works. Like, you've been fighting things with a sword and going around medieval times, but there's a working fucking teleporter, so whatever the fuck, it actually works.
Now, of course, what Luca and the rest of them don't know is that by teleporting you, they've actually destroyed you at the molecular level and then reassembled you. But actually, the new you doesn't have the same consciousness. It has the same memories and thinks it's the same. But the original you actually did die horribly.
Yes.
No one's ever going to comment on this, but it is what happened.
Yes,
just scientifically speaking. So at this point, Chrono, you the player, die a horrendous death as your atoms are ripped apart.
So Marl is like, that brutal. Sounds fun. Let me do that too. And so she goes through the teleporter, but the science is interacting with her magic pendant, and she gets tossed into a swirling blue abyss, which remind me to talk about in the memorable moments. There's just a cool little thing about the swirling blue. But she's never to be seen again. So everyone's like, what the fuck? And Taban like steps out with like jazz hands and is like, hey, it was a magic show the whole time. Disappearing girl. Hey, everybody go.
Don't ask questions.
And so Chrono, being the protagonist, grabs the pendant, hops onto the teleport, and jumps into the abyss after her. And
I was going to say this for memorable moments, but since you already mentioned it, I just want to clarify something. This a nice little bit of characterization for our silent hero who has no characterization. When this happens, you can freely walk around, and if you talk to Luca, she's just like, "Oh no, what happened?" And if you talk to Taban, he's just like, "Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit." And what you have to do as the player is freely walk up to the pendant and just grab it. So like. Mm-hmm. The pendant's still on the telepod, by the way. You're not grabbing it because you're greedy and want to sell it, even if you did do that earlier. I mean, you could read that characterization, I guess. But so the way it is like these two people are literally just freaking out, and Chrono just immediately is like, fuck it, I know what to do. I'm going to go fucking get her, which I think is really cool. He's very heroic.
Yeah. So then we get because this is one of the last games made for the SNES, we get some Mode 7 graphics that take us through a cutscene to arrive in a forest. And as you're making your way through the foresty canyon area, you're attacked by several monsters, and you get a real feel for the battle system in this game, which is real fun. It's like active time battle, but your enemies' positions also matter, but you can't move them or adjust them at all. So it kind of ends up being another thing to wait on with an active time battle, where it's like, I could take my turn right now, but let me tank another round or two of damage so that homeboy walks over here so I can use an AoE and get him out at the same time. So it actually ends up being kind of cool. It just would be really great if we could move or move them. It's like,
hey, let's have a positional based battle system where you don't actually get to move around and you just kind of hope it works out.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. It kind of ends up working out. I can see what they were going for, but there's a reason that spiritual successor to this game, Lost Sphere, lets you move around on the battlefield, because it makes a lot more sense. Or
other Sphere, or actual successor Chrono Cross ditches the concept entirely.
Yeah.
Oh, also battles do happen on the field, which is really cool.
Yeah, and the game is exquisitely paced. So if you explore a decent amount and you hit all of the monsters as you're doing your exploring, you'll be ready for the next boss. Doing it this way kind of completely does away with the whole like, oh, I didn't run into any like that one time when I was playing Dragon Quest when you were on the line with me, Maddie, and I walked all the way to the fucking third town, no battles as a level 1. Like, that RNG doesn't happen in this game, and so
it's really nice.
They can specifically put in whatever battles they want, and you just do those battles. You can sometimes run around battles or sneak your way past, but usually, a lot of the time it's literally impossible to do that. A lot of the time they just force you to battle, and even when they don't, it's like, why not do it? It's not that hard. It doesn't take that long, and also you don't want to be under level, do you?
Yeah.
So I sometimes skip battles, but other times would not. So
yeah.
I was skipping some later on, but I was mostly just participating in them.
The only time I skipped was later on in the actual dungeon. If I fought a battle and then I went into a door and then I came out of the door and they had respawned, I would avoid it the second time around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Eventually we'll get combo text, which is where this game's battle system completely opens up and is really cool.
It's great.
So you make your way through that small forest dungeon and you come out on the world map, and it kind of looks like you're in the exact same spot that you were before, but there's no fair here this time. So you make your way to the town, which is also called Truce, the town that you were before, just like Chronos Village. And you talk to everyone, and they mention, like, well, of course, this is the kingdom of Guardia. Who else would be at war with the Fiend Lord and all these other things that make you start to piece it together? Oh, shit, I'm 400 years in the past, until you find the NPC that's like, what? Millennium? Why would we be having a millennium anything when it's only the year 600 AD? And you're like, oh, okay. There it is. Straight up.
One person you just talk to, and you're literally just like, where am I? And he's just like, where are you? This is the year 600 AD. And King Guardia, the whatever, is the king. And I'm like, that's not what you would normally say when someone asks where you are. Do you just go around telling people what year it is? Hey, guess what? It's 600 AD.
So there are other NPCs that mention that the queen was found wandering out in Truce Canyon, which is where you showed up after you did the time warp again. And so they're like, yeah, so they found the queen out there, and now she's back at the castle. So you make your way to the castle, and there's a tiny little forest dungeon on your way there. And the guards are like, hey, you look like an anime protagonist. You've probably broken into about 15 houses and taken their stuff so far, so we're going to throw you in jail. And then the queen shows up and is like, no, guards, stand down. That's my friend. And she's like, come follow me upstairs. And if you do follow her upstairs, it is Marley, or Marl. Why did I say Marl? After that whole thing, cut that out, Sam. Cut that out. It's because I typoed it with not typoed it. I had an exclamation point on it, and it looks more like the word Marley on my paper, and my brain just got away from me.
Yeah,
sure, Sam.
But anywho, so we go talk to Marl upstairs, and she's like, yeah, they said that I was the queen. I told them that I wasn't, but they weren't listening to me. but things are cool because queens are awesome. But oh shit, I feel like I'm being ripped apart atom by atom, and then she gets zapped out of existence. And
that seems very unpleasant.
Yeah.
Luckily, no one sees this happen. The ladies in waiting are standing outside the room, so you just kind of...
They're all gossiping, too, which is
You just
great.
fucking run away.
You just fucking run. You just just kind of whistle a little bit and act natural.
Yeah.
So as you're fleeing the scene of the crime, Luca shows up and is like, "Hey, did you find the girl?" And we're like, she dead." And Luca's like, "Oh, we must have fucked up the timeline because turns out that was Princess Nadia. So the queen is her great 400 years great grandma. So since they called off the search for her, she's died." And now...
Yeah. Like in the actual timeline, the queen got kidnapped and then later rescued. But now she's been kidnapped and not rescued because they thought that they found her when they found Marl. So now the real queen is going to die, thus zip, zap, zoop.
Yeah. And she's like, well, we should go and save the queen and finish that search party thing. And we're like, okay, cool. So Luca joins our party. She has a gun. She's a fire user. She is the best. I love her.
Yeah, no, Luca is one of my favorite characters in any Japanese role-playing game ever. She is, in my opinion, not only the best character in this game, but also the most important character in this game. I think that she is just fantastic. I think she's fucking great. I love her.
She's great. She was really, really great with the combos.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, actually, fun fact. Y'all might not know this. But this is interesting. The music that plays when you win a battle. That whole thing. That's actually Luca's theme.
Oh,
nice.
So, in case you want further proof that she's the most important character in this case, her winning battles is her theme. Like, what? That's weird. Anyway, just thought I'd mention that.
That's really cool. So, Luca tells us the plot to Back to the Future 1, and we decide that we should explore the castle.
Luca is Doc Brown. Got it.
Yeah. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Except way harder.
As you explore the... Debatable. Just kidding. So, having nothing else to do, we explore the castle, and we hear about Sir Cyrus and his unnamed friend who left 10 years ago and disappeared and never came back, that they were the Queen's Royal Guard, and also the forest to the west is fucking haunted, but thankfully there's a church there, and since this is a JRPG, we can trust the church. There's nothing wrong with the church whatsoever.
Oh, no.
It is not going to be it's not going to be a dungeon. It is not going to secretly have human rights abuses. It is going to be
if you go to the dungeon,
okay.
If you go to the church before you do all the stuff we're talking about, because you're going out of order, because you're exploring, they definitely don't say lots of creepy stuff to you that implies that they're definitely evil.
Yeah.
Oh, they did that even when I went in order. Like I went and chatted all of them, and they're like, humans are delicious.
I forgot to chat all of them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even if you go there early, they say that.
Humans. What are you talking about? You're crazy.
Yeah.
Human.
And so, it's such a good and honest place, but shit, it's the next dungeon. So we make our way to that dungeon, and there's a bunch of nuns, just nerds. What the fuck is my what the fuck is my speech impediment sometimes, man? Like it just shows up in the dumbest fucking place. But so there's a bunch of nerds just trying to have a service. But if we look around the place, we see a coral hairpin, which the NPC said the queen always wore, but for some reason she's stopped wearing it now that she's Marl. And so we're like, what the fuck is this? And so the nuns all turn into Naga, and we fight, and we kick their ass because Luca is real strong, and these guys are weak to fire. And
she's got a fucking flamethrower.
She has a flamethrower.
Cool,
we have fire swirl, and it's AoE, and it just one shots everything in this fucking dungeon.
Which might be a great time to talk about dual techs.
Hell yeah! You want to tell us about dual techs, Matt?
I guess I can. I thought you were going to. Yeah. So in this game, there's no magic. Instead of the button that would normally say magic, it says tech. Now, functionally, it's the same shit, but yeah. So because it uses TP, which are tech points, whatever. Who gives a shit? So yeah, techs are your special skills, and they sometimes, as Sam was saying, have AOE, or they go on a line and hit multiple enemies. It's kind of cool. But yeah, so Chrono learns Whirlwind Slash or something, where he spins his ass in a circle and hits a couple enemies if you're lucky. And Luca has a spell, a tech rather, called, I don't know what it's called, Flamethrower, where she shoots a flamethrower in a line and can sometimes hit multiple enemies that way. But this game has a really cool thing called dual techs, where when it's either their turn, you pick... Oh, actually, you know what?
It has to be both of their turn.
Huh?
You actually have to wait for both of their turns.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just meant you can pick it for either of them.
Yes.
But yeah, also, I just realized Sailor Moon does this shit too.
Yep.
So yeah, so if it's either their turns, if both of them have filled up their ATB bar, you then pick whichever one you're looking at, doesn't matter. And you go to the dual tech part of your tech menu and you pick dual tech. And right now you have one that's like Fire Whirl or something, where Chrono goes to go do his swirly sword move, and Luca does flamethrower on him while he's doing this. Oh no, has Luca betrayed our friend Chrono by shooting her flamethrower at him? No, dear listener. She has in fact superpowered his sword charge. And now he does a whirly fire, twirling, fire attack. The funny thing is, this attack is so OP that there's essentially no reason to ever use it until you get to the boss, because your normal swirl attack or her normal fire rod attack will pretty much one-shot any enemy, but you can use it if you want to do way too much damage.
You also can use it for its AoE potentials, because this dungeon is a lot of hallways, so they're usually close enough together that you can get like 3 or 4 of them out on one turn, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's pretty tight. But yeah, also the way you unlock dual techs is it's not a special thing. It's just that each dual tech is specifically made of 2 already existing techs, like Luca's flamethrower and Chrono's spin's whirlwind. So when both characters have that tech, then the dual tech just shows up. And yeah, there end up being a bunch of them.
Yeah, man, that's really cool.
If you go into the menu, you'll see that there exists such a thing called a triple tech.
Yeah.
I wonder when that'll start being a thing.
Maybe when we can hold on to a third party member for very long.
For more than 5 goddamn seconds, yeah.
Yeah. So, we beat the shit out of the Naga, and Luca's like, well, that was easy. Turns around, and then another Naga shows up to try and take her down. And then we meet the second best character in this game, who is a frogman. His name is Die Frogman. And
nice.
He jumps in and swords the shit out of the Naga, and he's like, "Hey, I'm here to save the queen, so let's buddy up." And this frog's name is Albert Einstein. I made that the Die Frogman joke was just off the cuff, and then I had wrote the Albert Einstein joke, so I said both of them, even though now they're conflicting jokes, but whatever.
Is his name Die Frogman, or is it Albert Einstein? Who knows?
I feel like I know who he is.
Checkmate atheists. But his name is actually just Frog. And he's like, oh, let's find the secret passageway so then we can go farther into the church, which is 100% filled with evil monsters. The most common trash mob is called a Diablo, which just means devil. So there's devils in this church. It's not real subtle at all.
This seems like the opposite of what a church is supposed to be, TBH. I do like how it's not like, oh, the church is like the humans that are running the religion are actually like bad and corrupt and manipulative. It's like, no, it's just demons. They're literally demons.
They're just literal demons everywhere.
You don't have to deal with like the questions of like religion. It's just like, no, it's demons. That's why they're bad.
Yeah. So we explore a whole lot, and there's a lot of cool treasure. Almost everybody gets an improvement except for Luca, because why would there be a gun in 600 AD? But there's a lot of cute little world-building stuff there, and we eventually make it into a room that has the queen and the king and a guard in it. And we're like, oh, hey, we're here to rescue you, but shit, these are just monsters too. So we kill them because we indiscriminately kill monsters, except for the ones that are in the cafeteria. We're just, oh, you guys are on break. We're cool. We don't have to fight you. But
those guys are awesome. They think that all the demons can be in disguise. They think that you're in disguise.
And they're just like, come on, take a load off. Just prop your feet up.
Let's hang out.
But
it's a good time.
It's great. So then we make our way past that room into a room where all of the Diablos are dancing around in a circle, singing praises to some dude named Magus. And there's a giant statue of a dude named Magus there. And he seems like he's probably the Fiend Lord, but it doesn't say straight up. So then you book it through the rest of the...
He looks like Vegeta.
Yeah, he's Vegeta, but his hair is slicked back instead of spiky. So you book it the rest of the dungeon, and you find the Chancellor from back at the castle saying that he's about to kill the Queen. So we say no thanks, and we jump in, but a stop to it. So the Chancellor reveals himself as Yakra, which is the beast that supposedly had haunted this forest, because, of course... that they were just like, you know what? These heroes keep fucking coming and keep fucking killing us. Let's just build a church and they'll leave us alone. And it worked. So Yakra is one hideous looking motherfucker, and he is our first boss of the game. And we get to listen to that amazing boss theme to this game. Like, it's so good. But we take him down pretty easy. I don't even remember his... like mechanics, because I just flamethrower.
No, you go on, Eli.
He did like an AoE attack every now and then, and he had one attack that did like 50 damage, but Frog can heal by licking you.
Yep. Slurp,
which is gross. Don't like it. Don't much care for it, but whatever, you know.
Yep.
He's a frog. He's gonna do the tongue things, I guess.
Also, at this point, you probably have a really useful move, because right now, beforehand, your only dual tech is an AoE attack, and like, it still does amazing damage. And maybe y'all don't have this problem, but do y'all have the same brain problem I do, where like, it really bugs you to use an AoE attack on one guy?
Absolutely.
No.
For me, it drives me crazy. Even if it does more damage than all my other moves, I still feel like I'm being wasteful.
No, if it does more damage, I don't fucking care unless it has a big MP cost or something.
That's the thing, because I know that some of that MP cost is going towards the AoE thing. You know, like if it wasn't AoE, it would cost less.
I'm not being
efficient.
It only uses 2 MP. So
I didn't actually look at how much it costs.
Yeah, it's super fucking cheap.
It's the concept that matters.
The text.
The reason I'm getting to this, huh?
I was about to say the techs in this game are ridiculously cheap. They are not balanced whatsoever. You should use them every single turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really should. The only real cost, strategic decision of to use a tech is like, do I use this dual tech that makes these two characters have to use their turns, or this other one where these other two characters use turns, because whichever one you use, that of course leaves a third character to do what they want to do, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the reason I was doing my silly little complaint about AoEs, because I just have a weird, stupid brain that can't deal with that. Luckily, by the time you get to this point, you've probably learned your first dual tech with Chrono and Frog, which is an extremely just fucking cool looking move called X Strike, because Chrono and Frog are both sword guys. So literally wherever they are currently standing, they both just charge at the enemy as fast as they can, like anime. You know, like the anime thing where you just like zip from one side of the screen to the other with your sword out, and then a second later they like fall and die. It's that, but they're both doing it, generally making an X shape, and it only hits one enemy, so you don't have that Maddie problem, and it does lots of damage. The reason I'm bringing this up is A, it's cool and I love it, and B, I just want to go ahead and share a tip for Eli. If I'm remembering correctly, X Strike is a very, very crucial move in this game.
Okay.
And as your attack goes up and stuff, I think it ends up being the move you're going to want to fall back on all the time, because it owns.
Great.
I
was using Frog to heal.
And if you need Frog to heal, then of course that's why you have flame whirlwind.
And that's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah. That's fine too.
It's also important to know this, because two important characters in Chrono Cross also use X Strike, and this connection is something to keep in mind a million years from now when we actually play Chrono Cross.
Or don't, depending on how the voters decide.
Yeah. So, beep-a-deep-a-deep-a-deep. So, Yakra goes down. We free the old Chancellor from literally inside of a treasure chest. And
Poor guy, he was really stuffed in there. He's like twice the
It's
size
a
of the
normal-sized treasure chest.
Yeah.
It's great. So we take both of them back to the castle where the king thanks us, and he's like, "Oh, we need to have a stricter criminal justice system so that this doesn't ever happen again." So
I laughed my ass off when I got to that line because I knew it was going to happen.
Yep.
I didn't know what was going to happen, but I was like, I had a feeling. So I really love time travel stuff in shows where like. And it's weird because I'm not really a fan of Back to the Future. Mm-hmm. But I love shit like Futurama where they, like Roswell That Ends Well, where they go back to the past and Fry becomes his own grandfather.
Yes.
Something smells like blue.
A lesson in not changing history from Mr. I'm My Own Grandpa. I love shit like that. I love Looper. I think it's a really cool movie.
God, it's a good movie.
It is so good. Just where shit that happens in the past is directly influential on stuff that happens in the future. Like that kind of thing. I think it's really, really cool. And so like the Chancellor said that, and I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm directly responsible for the criminal justice system in the future. And Maddie mentioned a trial. I've just fucked myself.
They're like, yep. I just love it. They're like, man, we should invent cops and, living in America in 2020. I'm like, no, don't invent a criminal justice system. They're like, hey, y'all, what if we did racism?
They did racism on a
dastardly... Actually, you know what? Also, they totally kind of do, because in just a little bit, we're going to learn about this other group of... This isn't a spoiler. This doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter. But there's this group of people called Mystics, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And there's definitely some, weird racism happening in the year 1000 AD. So, yeah, good thing they invented that criminal justice system, huh, guys?
Great.
Yep.
So
went off
glad.
without a hitch.
And as we'll see, it only ever... those people in jail who are guilty of crimes.
So Frog then is like, I'm disgraced because I failed to save the queen, and you only can have 3 people in your party at a time in this game. So he leaves. But
not before his great fucking theme plays.
Yeah, his theme is great.
It's really one of the best tracks in the game.
So Luca is like, since we fixed the timeline, Marl's probably upstairs. Let's go collect her and make our way back to the present. We got to get back to the future, as they say. So you go upstairs, and Marl is just chilling, safe and sound, and we're like, cool, let's go home. And
I hope you don't remember your horrific death.
Oh, she does, though.
She definitely does.
Yeah.
She 100% brings up how horrifying it was to die.
Yeah.
But
and then undie.
So
double ghost undeath.
There it is. Homestuck's back on the menu. I'm back, guys.
Hell yes. Well, I mean, Bernard was here before, so
True.
It was never off the menu. TBQH.
So
hi, Evita.
So we decide to head back home. We go back to the canyon, and Luca is like, so while you were gone, I kind of fashioned a device out of the teleporter and some magic-y shit. So now I have a portable gate key that I can open up time gates wherever we want to. So let's open it, and not wherever we want to, whenever we want to. It's only in specific locations.
So to clarify, time gates already exist. They don't get to create them. They already exist in certain locations just naturally, and they always connect 2 different points in time on the exact same location.
And so she opens it up. We get back into mode 7 and come back to our own time. And we're like, all right, let's take Marl back to the castle where we are arrested on the spot for kidnapping her. Then they knock us out.
Can I can I please be the one to talk about this trial?
I absolutely...
Yes, please.
In my notes, it says, the screen comes up and there's a gorgeous low-angle shot of a courtroom where we're on trial. And Eli, why don't you tell us about the trial?
Yes. Excellent. Okay, so... this is the point in the game where I found out I was playing it wrong. By that, I mean, I was looking at this as a Final Fantasy game, and I was just doing fucking whatever, because that's what you do in Final Fantasy. You raid people's houses, you take their shit, stuff's just lying around, it's there. There's dialogue options, you click them all because it's interesting and you want to see what everybody says.
Gameplay is non-diegetic.
Right,
Yes.
right. I should have been playing this like Undertale.
Yep.
I went and I ate that guy's fucking lunch right off his table, and Mara laughed at me. She's like, "Oh, you're such a pig." I'm like, cool. I did save the girl's kitty. I had trouble with that because, like, I would click the kitty and nothing would happen except it would meow. And then I would click it again and it would run away from me. And so I was like, well, I guess I can't bring that cat back. But then when I came back to the future and I was in the Millennial Fair again, I was like, okay, well, let me see what happens if I just tap the kitty once, and I started moving and it's following me. I'm like, okay, cool, now I can bring the cat back.
You did it then? I never once considered the idea that you can do fair shit after bringing her back during that little bitty bit in between now and the...
You can do all the same shit.
That's cool.
I just never considered it, because I'm always just making a beeline to the next cutscene. Huh, look at that.
Looky there.
I wanted to give it a try because I'm like, I really want to give this girl her cat back. I tried to sell Marl's pendant because the guy asked me, and I was just
every
like,
single bad thing.
I did,
except for the cat.
I not only that, I picked up the pendant before talking to Marl to see if she was okay, which I didn't even consider was a thing. She's like, "Oh, I dropped my pendant," and I'm like, "Okay, let me go get your pendant. It's right over there." And so
the best part is if you talk to her first, she just repeats that line. It's not even like you get like anything different if you do it quote unquote the right way.
Eli, did you wait for her to finish her shopping?
With the candy?
Yeah.
I actually tried to leave.
Yep.
Okay.
So
you did every single bad thing. Wow.
Except for the cat.
Except for the cat.
To contextualize a little bit, Eli didn't understand quite explain this. The reason all this matters is you're on trial for kidnapping the queen.
I was getting there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We were setting the stage, Maddie. Gosh.
I'm sorry. It just seemed like you were about to go past it. Sorry.
Nope, getting there. So, yes, they put you on trial and they start asking you questions about your character. And they bring up witnesses during the whole thing. And so, like, at first, they're like, oh, well, he's really your defender is like, he's really compassionate. And then he brings the little girl in and she's like, yeah, he got my kitty back. And I'm like, oh, thank God I brought that cat back. And then they start asking me things like, have you ever stolen anything? And I was like, maybe. And then it shows the cutscene of me eating that guy's lunch. And then they bring in the guy as a witness. And he's like, he ate my lunch right in front of me. I'm like, you weren't even looking at it.
But if you happen to talk to that guy first, he talks about how excited he is that he's on break and he's about to sit down and eat his delicious lunch.
And I absolutely did. I definitely talked to him first. And he told me about
sure can't wait to eat this lunch.
And then I saw his lunch and I'm like, I'm eating that. And then they asked like, well, and you ran into Princess Nadia. Were you tempted by her fortune? And I was like, no. And they were like, are you sure? And I was like, no, I didn't know she was a princess at that point. And then they're like, let's look at the play-by-play here.
Let's roll the tape back.
Roll the tape back.
Yeah, apparently we had this place, a highly advanced security apparatus. We have the Patriot Act here.
I mean, they've got teleportation pads. I think they've got security systems. But they showed where I tried to sell the pendant, and they showed where I picked up the pendant to bring it back to Marl before talking to Marl and making sure she was okay. And it was a mess. And like through this whole thing, I'm just going, oh no, I'm guilty as fuck. And like, I'm trying to answer honestly, but I couldn't answer that honestly because I didn't know that it was affected by anything. And I'm like, this shit so mattered, good. And I feel stupid. And so like, I'm just watching, like biting my nails as they're determining my verdict. And so like one guy comes up, guilty, and another guy comes up, guilty, and then another guy comes up and he goes, not guilty. By the end of it, I had 3 not guilties and 4 guilties.
So not all in all, not terrible. You can get
not too bad. No,
yeah, I suppose not. It could have been worse if I had not saved that fucking cat.
So if you there's one guy that responds to if you lie in court or not, and then there's one for each of the other things.
Oh, okay. Well, I got one of the guys for lying, apparently.
Yeah. And so I got 5-2 not guilty. What did you get, Maddie?
Fun fact, I'm actually pretty sure I would get 7 out of 7, except I actually didn't get this scene because I had a small little issue with losing my save progress. Literally, I did every single thing for the week except for the trial, so it's fine. Oh, I didn't lose all my save progress, just some, but it was enough where I didn't have time to do the trial, so yeah. Okay. But I think I would have got 7 out of 7, actually.
Nice. I left when she was trying to get candy because I forgot that was even a thing, and when it happened I was like, god damn it. But
I remember that one very clearly. Also, remember, Marl is named Maddie, so she's me. So I'm like, yeah, duh, she wants to go shopping. Obviously, women be shopping.
I didn't even know that like it was a timed thing. So I'm like, okay, she's getting candy, cool. I'm just gonna go, and she's like, no, wait. Getting candy. Yeah. So my sentence. Sorry, go on.
So before we talk about the sentence and wrap up talking, this is one of 3 to 4, maybe 5 things in this game that me and Maddie have talked about in front of your face in code, talking about, god damn it, Eli needs to play fucking Chrono Trigger so that we can reference the trial again.
Yeah. As I said last week, I think, Eli, Final Fantasy VI had that big opera scene, right? And this game is full of scenes that aren't like as elaborate as the lengthy opera thing from FF6, but it's like this trial, right? Like there's like a half dozen or so of big scenes like this that everyone just loves and are really famous.
Oh, I fucking loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
I love the bespoke graphics.
Yeah, God, the background was so gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I adored this scene, and I felt like an idiot.
It's good. When me and Maddie were planning it out, we're like, okay, well, the first week we have to get through the trial, and God, I hope Eli accidentally beefs it and just gets the shittiest time in the trial because it's way more memorable of a scene.
You got so fucking owned. For the record, Eli, the same thing happens no matter what happens here.
Everybody gets a 3-day solitary confinement with execution at the end.
So I got not guilty, right? So we get to the thing, and they're like, okay, well, you got 3 days solitary confinement for abetting the princess as she escaped. So you have 3 days solitary confinement, but then you can go. And we're like, okay, cool. So you get there, and then the chancellor comes in and is like, yeah, they must have messed up the paperwork because it's time for his execution this weekend. And you're like, wait, what the fuck? And he pulls the strings to kill you.
Yeah, the chancellor fucks it up.
Yeah. Good job, fucking chancellor. God damn it.
So it's a slight
clerical error,
foreshadowing if you happen to get a not guilty verdict of where we're going from here next week, but. I like how both in 600 AD and 1000 AD we just have a chancellor problem in this goddamn kingdom. Just like in every other fantasy story, chancellors are just always bad. Yeah. They're bad. Chancellors are no good. Why do we even have chancellors? They're clearly going to betray you at some point.
ACB.
Chancellor
all
Gongora.
Chancellors are bad.
All chancellors, yes, ACAB, exactly.
But Chancellor Gongora, he was up to no good. Why have chancellors?
He's up to no good. Chancellor Palpatine,
up to no good.
Well, he was a senator first. That's the thing. He was like, "I want to be the chancellor instead." This should have been that. Should have known. They should have been like,
"Wait, no, you're bad."
That's a
actually,
red flag. Yeah, being a chancellor is clearly a red flag.
Literally, the only reason we even have the position of chancellor is so that if anyone wants to be one, we know that they're bad.
That's all.
It's a trick. It's a honeypot for villains. But if a villain ever decides to be evil in a different political position, we will never know.
Yeah.
So that is where we are saving for this week. So let's listen to some more spectacular Chrono Trigger music.
I want to throw in my hat here. I think that probably the best track in literally this entire game is the 600 AD world map theme. I think we should play that one.
Okay, I was going to do Frog's theme, but since we had just talked about it, so it'll be one of those two. You'll have to like Shazam your radio to find out which one is which. So, on to memorable moments. Eli, why don't you start us off?
Okay, I actually have quite a few.
Good.
So, in the Truce Inn at one point, or someone said this. I don't remember who it was, but I was talking with someone, and they used the phrase "shut your pie hole." I didn't take the screenshot of it, and I should have. I didn't write a quote or anything, but "shut your pie hole" will never not be funny to me because of the implication that the mouth is made specifically for pie.
Which, like, not wrong, especially if you include pizza.
I fucking love pie. In all various shapes and forms, pie is delicious.
Dessert
and
pies, pizzas, quiche.
That includes cheesecake. Cheesecake is a pie. Don't at me.
I mean, it obviously is. Yes, pie. What a great category of food.
Yeah.
So
pie is so good. Pot pies.
Not to cross over with Hyper before I'm on Hyper this week, but another great kind of humor is when you say words in the wrong order in a sentence. And one of my favorites is "shut pie your hole."
It's
good.
It's good.
I heard it like in 5th grade, and now that's what my brain goes to when I think of "shut your pie hole." Is instead I'm just like, no, shut pie your hole. It's so good.
It's very good.
Yeah, it is great. So in the Millennial Fair, when you're doing the little mini game with your silver points, there are 3 characters. Their names are Vix, Wedge, and Piet. I know that these are Star Wars references. Vix is technically supposed to be Biggs.
That's funny because it was corrected in mine to be Wedge and Biggs.
Yeah, but this is also a Final Fantasy reference, which I am here for.
Yeah, I believe it's also Vix. I believe it's the same mistranslation in FF6.
It
if I
is,
recall.
yes. Yeah.
Thanks, Ted Woolsey. You apparently have... I guess Ted Woolsey hasn't seen Star Wars.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would get the reference and spell it right.
They also in the katakana they wrote it as Bikusu and not Biguzu. Like
right.
Yeah.
So they were Bigsu, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. I just wrote Marl is adorable and I love her. I do like the little timed moments, like the candy thing. I think that's an interesting addition that I don't see in older RPGs very often, where you just have to kind of wait there for a second.
So remember back when we were playing Undertale and we were like, God, how cool would it be if they gave AAA money for someone to make a short, dense game like Undertale? And that's what Chrono Trigger is. Like, yeah, the Undertale reference of like how you play matters, but more than that, it's just like there's care on every single bit. Like, one of my memorable moments is in the dungeon, there's a paper that you go up. It's like, this door is locked. You can't go through. And if you go and you then solve the puzzle to unlock it, if you go to check the paper again, it goes, well, I mean, if you're that determined to go through, then by all means. It's fucking fantastic. Cute. And there's so many things like that. Like, every time you get a new party member, take them back to your mom and introduce them, because there's a scene every single time.
That's awesome.
And it's great. So they use the Undertale of it all to fuck you over here in the trial scene, but the rest of it is it's all just good, like yummy deliciousness the whole rest of the game, which is great.
Yeah. Almost nothing that you could do matters in more than a way that's just like fun. So don't have anxiety about fucking up.
Yeah. The shop guy in the year 600 says, "No window shoppers. What do you want?" And it reminds me of like the original Zelda's "Buy something, will ya?" Which I love.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
In the cathedral dungeon, there is a room that you can go into where a bunch of monsters are sitting around a table and just having a conversation.
I love
They're just having a chat, and you can go around and you can chat with all those monsters. And at one point, one of the other monsters is like, "I'm gonna go check on," and like the dialogue disappeared too fast for me, but he like actually left the area and he just like walks off. And I thought that was a really
Did you
cute
follow
scene.
him? Because that's how you find the Magus Shrine without just like looking everywhere for it. Is if you follow him, he walks you straight to it.
Oh,
really
okay.
Cool. Because that's what he says. It's like, I'm going to go check on the ceremony or the Fiend Lord statue or something like that. But
I was a good RPG boy, and I explored, and I found the 2 skull things that you have to click.
Nice.
I like the little extra animation flares, like Chrono's bouncy hair. I like the extra sword slash when he does a crit. Being able to move during a dialogue box. My only complaint about this game so far, his fucking run animation, which we talked about on Cosmic Star Heroine, that Sam pointed out to me today because I was complaining about the way Chrono runs.
It fucking sucks.
It's
so
terrible.
bad.
He runs stupid.
It's so bad.
It's the worst.
It's literally the only awful thing about this game so far. Everything else is great.
Because there's so much good sprite work in this game. Like, it is obviously the game that Tetsuya Nomura did after Final Fantasy VI. Like, everything is delicious and really well done. And there's this one that Chrono does where he's like half jumping forward, like with like one hand out, which is like such a good pose and everything. There's so much deliciousness, but the one you get to see the whole time is the Ministry of Silly Goddamn Walks.
Yeah. Maybe the reason it's bad, maybe it's meant to be like canonical. Like, maybe it's characterful. Like, maybe he just walks dumb, and that's like something that's just part of his character.
He's walking with very dumb purpose.
Yes.
Chrono is definitely a himbo. That's how I read him.
Yeah.
He's
considering
Goku, who is one of the.
Considering how I played him, he's absolutely a himbo. He's just going around doing whatever the fuck.
I mean, he's Goku, and Goku is one of the biggest himbos of all time. So you know.
But yeah, my last note is, I said it earlier. I love the time travel stuff. I love just all the little touches that the game has. I love how much my choices already matter and have fucked me over, even though they technically didn't. But feeling like they fucked me over.
I just remembered one more time that your choices can fuck you over, and it happens next week, but it's literally not important. Don't freak out about it. It's not like...
Okay, so it's a fake you out, fuck you over.
Yeah, it's not like...
Okay.
You'll never get kicked out of thing. You fight trash mobs for failing it is all it is, and it happens next week. You'll recognize it when it's coming. But
I was practically screaming during this trial. Like, it was so fucking hilarious.
Well, especially because when you finish, like, they're like, you're gonna be literally executed. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I was like, oh, well, I guess that's it. End of game for me. I did it. Good job.
Good job, Kingdom. You instituted a legal justice system, and you ended up executing a 16-year-old kid
for eating a lunch.
But yeah, I'm already super in love with the game.
Yeah. So one of mine is the game starts and you are free to do whatever you want, even though it is like 5 pixels to walk from your house to the obvious fireworks display that is the Millennial Fair. Why would you do anything else? But if you decide to do anything else, there you can grind in the forest if you want to. You can go to an entire other continent by either walking there or riding a ferry. They have different stuff in their shops if you want to. There's more NPCs you can talk to. There's so much crap in this game at the beginning that is just there in case you want to do it, even though the game is literally almost impossible to do it on purpose or not on purpose. So it's crazy how much
the
stuff
game, the game so strongly. It doesn't do the old game thing where you just have to wander around. It's like the game so very cleanly and obviously pushes you towards the right direction and tells you precisely what you need to do to advance the plot. It's very much that modern style of plot-focused game direction. But it still is like, or if you just want to be fucking stupid and not do that, sure, I guess.
That's a good way to grind gold, because at the fair they're selling this sword for like 4,000 and you start the game with 100, and there's no way that you'll be able to get it, even if you get your allowance from your mom of an extra 500. Like, there's no way that you'll ever be able to afford it. But if you just go grind some monsters, you get 4,000 in no time, and then you have you start the game with a level 6 sword and you just beat the shit out of everything forever, and it's great.
I didn't bother with that, but yes, you could.
I didn't know to do that. So
yeah, like we're saying, it's almost impossible to do it on accident, which is I think cool. How there's so much stuff there, because like they invented New Game Plus for this game, so they wanted to make it worthwhile. Because like, no offense to like the personas of it all that all have New Game Plus, but I don't really want to do the same thing over and over again just for different social links. Like, it's not like I'm actually playing the game that different when I do New Game Plus. But here it's like, oh no, we made it as like dense as possible so that every time you go through, you might see something different. It's really cool.
Yeah. And I've already found a couple of new things. So I want to share a few of my MMs. And if anyone has any they haven't shared, y'all can go and do more after that.
Cool.
Right at the beginning of the fucking game, one of my favorites. I don't know if you saw this, Eli. When you're in your Chrono's room, right at the beginning of the goddamn game, first of all, lovely piece of music. Doesn't ever show up again, I don't think. The wake up music. When you're in your room, you can go up to your window and open and close the blinds.
Oh, neat. That was like the one thing I didn't try to do.
Which, not for one thing, that's a really cute little bit of detail, but also that cute detail, even if it wasn't there, really what's important about it to me is that it draws attention to one of my favorite things about this game, which is its baked-in lighting. This game obviously is all sprites. It doesn't have an actual lighting engine, right? But it has so much fake lighting. And what I mean by that is, like when you open your window, when you have your window open, the light cuts across the room. And what does that do? It means that some of the sprites like have a diagonal line through them where it's lighter on one side and darker on the other. And of course we know that's not really a lighting engine. That's just they made unique sprites for when something is partially lit, right? And there's so much of that in this game. Like there's
cool.
like almost any room that has windows, like it happens in the cathedral, it happens in most towns, has these baked in lighting sprites, and it's so fucking cool. And it's even cooler when you can literally change the sprite work of, or I keep saying sprites when I should be saying tiles, but whatever. I'm not going to get into the weeds of that. The point is, you can see the tiles change in real time because you close the window, right? It's so cool. Now you can't do that for every window. I have been checking. You can only do that so far for Chrono's window. But it just drew attention to the lighting for me, which is one of the beautiful things about this game. I said in the chat that I didn't love this game's aesthetic. I said that I love the character designs, but I thought that the color palette for the environments was just not really something I love. I fully rescind that opinion. It's been a goddamn decade since I've played this game, probably, and last time I played it, I think I just didn't have this as developed as taste when it comes to specifically aesthetics and specifically graphics and pixel graphics. Also, I turned on all of the right effects so that it really looks like a CRT. And unlike a lot of old games, I've actually never played this one on its correct hardware. Mm-hmm. So my more developed, in my opinion, taste in graphics combined with my using all the right settings, my jaw is on the floor. Every fucking scene of this game, how beautiful it is. Just the normal houses that you go into, the characters you talk, like just the people's dwellings. I love it. It's gorgeous. A few actual MMs. One heartbreakingly gorgeous area is Luca's house. Mm-hmm. Luca's house is beautiful. I'm looking at her ground floor. There's literally 3 different light sources, all of which are putting in, again, baked in lighting into the scene, which is phenomenal. If you go upstairs, you see Luca's mom. So Luca and her dad aren't there, but Luca's mom is there sitting in a chair looking out the window. It turns out that Luca's mom is disabled. She cannot walk. She doesn't have the use of her legs. I guess her family, her kid and dad just fucking ran off to go enjoy the fair without her. She doesn't seem sad about this. Maybe she thought, y'all go have fun. I'll just chill at home today. It's no big deal. But yeah, it's very interesting little fact. She's just sort of gazing out the window, presumably thinking about her family and how they're having fun. I'll skip over some of the stuff, even though I love it. I really love a lot of the NPCs in this game. Skip to my Lou. Another graphical thing I love, when you're on the overworld in 1000 AD, there's a layering thing. They do a foreground layer of clouds. Mm-hmm. These transparent clouds pass over your head in the foreground layer, and birds fly. These doves make dove sounds and fly across, and it gives the fact that you have doves and clouds and the ground, it gives it this amazing sense of space. You can feel the negative 3D space happening there, like the open air, the open sky. You can just feel that just because of a couple of layers of sprites. It's like so fucking much. Let's see. I'll just go with one more, I guess. When you're in the 600 BC town, you go to this one building. It's not the same as Luca's house, which doesn't exist in this time period. It's a different house. But when you talk to a guy, it's this guy who's building the bell. He's building Lean's bell, which you see in the present is a bell in the square. And he talks about how he's building this bell to present to the king and queen as a gift, and also how one day he hopes to have a daughter who is as smart as she is beautiful. You realize at that point that this is the same character sprite as Taban, Luca's dad.
Did you notice what his name was?
Oh, what was it?
It's Banta. It's Taban backwards.
Oh, it's backwards. Nice.
It's backwards in Japanese.
Mixed up.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this guy is literally Luca's ancestor, and he's also an inventor, a builder, and he hopes he has a smart kid. And I don't know if his daughter was smart, but his great granddaughter is a goddamn genius. So that just made me really smile. That was really cute and good and awesome. And that's the last one that I'll share.
The only one I have is real famous because it was Ted Woolsey looking up a word to get around Nintendo of America's policies and put porn in this game, which is great.
Oh yes.
So if you in one of the treasure chests out in the cathedral, you can find a Naga bromide. Bromide is a kind of photograph, but it's used as a cognate in Japanese, specifically as like a glamour shot of a celebrity, and so what that is, because once you find it, a henchman comes in and he's like, "Hey, don't take my my bromide," and fights you for it. You find a minion's porn stash where he is jerking it off to a naga, and
which is like, in case you were curious, yes, Akira Toriyama was involved in this game. Yes. Like, isn't that like I really feel like Toriyama, despite being the artist, like wrote that joke. Like, that's something that you would see in Dragon Ball, right?
Yeah, it's so great, and so it's not changed from the Japanese. It is legitimately talking about porn, but because he found a $5 word to describe it, it got past the censors, which is brilliant. I love it.
I adore that.
Yeah, that's my last one. So that will do it for the week. As anybody have anything final to say before we?
I have one final thing to share. Earlier, I said something. I said that even though I played this game a number of times, I'm still finding stuff I've never seen before. Nothing I just said is something I hadn't already seen before. Here's the one thing that I actually saw that is new. That for me, when you get back to the kingdom after your big adventure, you get back and you're like, okay, let's go return Nadia to the castle, thus leading to the trial and all that shit. Mm-hmm. Luca runs off. She leaves your party. At that point, as Chrono, you can just go back up and click on the time gate and go back.
That's cool.
I had never thought to do that, but apparently Luca left you, the dumbest boy in the world, with the time gate, the time key. So yeah, you, Chrono, and Marl, which is not a party you got to have before, just Chrono and Marl, get to go back to 600 AD and run around. I didn't. I just immediately went back once I realized. But like, what a weird thing the game just lets you do.
That's really cool. But yeah, that will do it for the week. As always, if you like what we do here, please consider donating on our Ko-Fi at ko-fi.com/rpgbookclub, where you can vote on our Best of the Rest 2020 bracket to decide if we play The Last Remnant, Shadows of Adam, Danganronpa 1, or Star Tropics 1 and 2. And if you want to hang out with us, you can find links to all of our social medias on our website at www.rpgbook.club. And please come and hang out with us in the Discord. Animal Crossing's out, Final Fantasy VII is out, Persona 5 Royal is out. We're constantly talking about all our favorite stuff. It's really active these days, and it's really awesome. But next week, we will be stopping after we arrive in the end of time. There should be a save point in there. Save at the save point. There may be scenes. It's kind of a fuzzy ending, but we definitely do not want to leave the end of time. Yeah. So,
like, save as soon as you can at the end of time, and if that means after some cutscenes, then fine. We'll talk about those cutscenes.
Yeah. But and also the end of time is a place. It is not a time period.
Yeah, important to note that. Yeah,
Google Docs
don't save when you've gotten to the end of the game.
Yeah, Google Docs is like, what do you mean in the end of time? Don't you mean at the end of time? And I'm like, no, it's a place. I promise. But for RPG Book Club, I am back and I am better than ever. And I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren,
and I'm Maddie Grace Webbin.
Have a week, guys.
Toodaloo!
That's like what you get. You actually get that sometimes, right, on the internet, where like someone will make like a post about how like trans women are women or something, and then someone will be like, basically someone will be, or I forget, someone will make a thing about trans stuff, and then some guy will comment, and this is like a trans girl posting it, and some guy will, but maybe it's like a trans girl who like is kind of gender androgynous in her presentation, and then some guy will always comment and be like, face it, you'll never be a boy no matter how much you try, you're just a girl. And that's just how it is. And she's like, damn, you're right. Because like they think that she's trying to be a trans guy. And is like, no, you'll there's no way you could not be a girl. And it's just like, wow, that's passing so hard you like loop around.
Yeah. There was a campaign on Twitter for a while that was like hashtag trans men are not women. And what they meant was,
right, of course. Yeah.
MTFs are not women, but they fucked up the nomenclature. And
Yeah, you get that a lot.
Yeah.
It's like here's a trans men are not women. It's like you're right, they're not.
Correct.
Cool.
I'm glad we're on the
Thanks.
same page. You're right. I am not a woman. I am.
TFW, you're so unwoke. You loop around accidentally being woke.